Hey everyone, I'm Danica Fine with Snowflake, and on behalf of the open source community, I am thrilled to announce that Apache Polaris has released version 1.0. This is a huge milestone for the project as it debuts the first production-ready release of Polaris, including binary distribution, along with a single downloadable artifact for you to use. There's a lot to be excited about in this release, so let's dive in and see what new features and performance enhancements are included along with Apache Polaris 1.0. First up, users will find support for external identity providers like Okta, Google, and more. The expanded functionality means that Polaris admins have the option to configure Polaris to be its own identity provider, delegate to an external identity provider, or use a combination of both. It does so by introducing an authentication type parameter, where valid options are internal, this is the default, external, or mixed, where external and mixed can be applied at the realm granularity. Also in this release is a new Polaris policy store, which adds support for storing and maintaining versioned policies. It offers persistence with schema evolution, built-in table management surface policies such as data compaction, snapshot expiration, and more, as well as a new set of REST CRUD endpoints to help admins bring it all together. Look out for more announcements in the table maintenance space coming soon. Also new this release is HTTP caching using entity tagging. With this change, the LoadTable endpoint now supports eTags, meaning you can call the catalog to find out if a table has changed and only get metadata in the event that it has. In this version, you'll also find that Polaris has a brand new JDBC-Based persistence layer. The new backend provides significant performance and reliability gains for users, unlocking better performance for both concurrent and sequential operations, greater scalability for Polaris overall, and a simpler schema and configuration process, making Polaris that much easier to manage. In another exciting improvement, Polaris can be a little smarter about handling conflicts. Consider the scenario where a writer is actually adding data to or removing data from a table. At the same time, a compaction operation causes a conflict. In that case, the write operation should succeed, and the compaction operation should be rolled back. This latest change allows for exactly this, and officially makes compaction a lower priority process in the context of conflicts. For the next improvement, users will find the ability to conduct filtering of snapshots. Both the Iceberg REST catalog spec and the Polaris spec allow for requesting a subset of snapshots when loading a table. So in this release, the functionality has been added. This will be especially useful for tables that have a large number of branches or tags. And finally, you may have noticed that Polaris has been upgraded to use a Quarkus runtime. For users of Polaris, this means sub-second cold starts, reduced RSS memory, and out-of-the-box Kubernetes readiness. Building on this, both Polaris Server and the admin tool are using Quarkus as a runtime framework as well. Now, before we close things out, we have a few exciting experimental features for you to try out. The biggest one is that Polaris can now serve table formats beyond Iceberg, with support for Delta Lake, CSV, and Parquet, with more to come. To make this possible, the Polaris community introduced the notion of a generic table, as well as an expanded set of REST endpoints to interact with non-Iceberg tables using all of the standard operations like list, drop, and create. As a bonus, for users of Apache Spark 3.5, there is already a plugin available to support generic tables and Delta Lake. Now keep in mind this is an experimental beta feature in this release, but it does mean that Polaris is one step closer to becoming your go-to open source catalog to unify your data governance and enable cross-platform intelligence. Next up, we have an experimental event listener framework. This allows users to subscribe to the various catalog events to be used for downstream applications and trigger any custom logic without having to modify Polaris code. These events describe things like table commits, view refreshes, and more. Users also have the ability to extend the event listeners themselves. And our final beta feature is catalog federation. Now you can federate requests to an external Iceberg REST or Hadoop catalog. And with that, I hope you can tell just how exciting this release is. The Polaris community has done an incredible job building out the features that you have been asking for. And on top of that, folks now have the chance to use Polaris with a brand new single downloadable artifact. So what are you waiting for? Give it a try and let us know what you think. Now, before we close out, I want to remind everyone that this is an exciting time to get involved in the Polaris project. So I encourage you all to check out the GitHub repository, browse open issues, and see how to get involved, to join us in building out this catalog. See you next time.